Ladies and gentlemen, Binnall of America!
And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host, Tim Binnall.
No commercials, no subscriptions, no network, no rules. And at the end of the day, my friends, no comparison. Welcome to another edition of BOA The Revival. Should be a fun, laid-back episode for you here this week. We're bringing back our old friend, Matt AP Strange Hopewell, for what should be sort of a jam session conversation, setting up something going on at the end of the month and other stuff happening in his life and interesting, things that cross our minds here as we chat. So welcome back to the show, Matt. It's great to have you, brother.
Hey, Tim. Thanks for having me back on.
And for folks who are, just tuning in for the first time, maybe they don't know, Matt is he goes by AP Strange largely online, but he's no mystery man. People know his name. There are some people out there who have nom de plumes that you don't know their actual name. But he is the host of the AP Strange Show, which is a fantastic podcast. I'm a big fan. He's been nice enough to have me on a couple times, so already he's got great taste in guests, right?
Yeah.
But what I like about the show too is he gets a lot of I try to find obscure guests. He also does that. He gets a lot of folks that off the beaten path type guests. So I appreciate that. And he does a really good job of sort of covering different stuff as well. So how you been since the last time we chatted? We had you on right around when we relaunched the Revival about a year or so ago now, maybe a year and a half, I think. Yeah,
and then I was on the anniversary show too.
That's right. That's right.
Penny. Yeah, that was a fun time.
That was a great time.
But yeah, no, things have been pretty good. It's been busy lately. And it's funny that you mentioned the nom de plume, because I was in my local newspaper recently, and the reporter didn't really know me, but she kind of put together that I used to perform poetry and music and stuff like that, and I in the first run of the article, she neglected to even include my website and podcast and just kept calling me by my real name. And I'm like, nobody's going to find my stuff if you if you don't include that, So fortunately she amended it and it was in the print edition. But yeah, it can be confusing when you have the real name versus online name. I try to just keep it consistent,
Yeah, it can be tough. It can be tough. Well, I think you and I are a little bit alike in a sense. We kind of backed into this in a sense where it's I was joking with somebody recently. It's Binnall of America. If I could go back, I probably would have come up with something more paranormal, but it was I never intended it to be paranormal in the first place. So just kind of, then I got interested in paranormal after I already was using Binnall of America as a website. So it was just kind of,
yeah.
I never imagined that it would turn into this fucking thing. Otherwise, I would have been paranormal, goobity goo.
Well, it's classic. It's the gold standard of podcasts in the paranormal realm, I think.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. You're gonna get.
No, I thought about the name for my show for a while, and then I was like, I should probably have my name in it. And I was starting to think of different ways to do. I don't know, late night with AP Strange, or a dark and spooky night with AP. And I was like, how about just the AP Strange show? That's just
sometimes that's the best way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's the best way to do it. Now you got something exciting going on here. We're going to plug it now right at the beginning. So, cause I'm sure there are people that shut it off before the plugs. I chastise them on the show at the end, but they're out there. I know you're out there, folks. They shut it off. So But you have something exciting going on, and I'm roped into this too. So you're going to be presenting at the Paranormal Research Symposium at the end of the month, because this is going to air in August 23rd in historic Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. You're on the lineup here for the Paranormal Research Symposium. What's that all about? Tell me about this presentation you're going to be doing.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, this is an event run by one of your former guests, Alex Matsiello, and her committee there with the Paranormal Research Association. And they did a call for abstracts, so I wrote up one that is something I had hoped to do as a presentation a while back, and just kind of got too busy and it fell by the wayside. So I'm basically going to be talking about conjuring the Loch Ness monster with magic. Doing a whole presentation on that. Yeah.
Very good.
It's called The Misunderstood Magic of the Monster of Ness. Was the presentation I came up with. So
Misunderstood Magic of the Monster. I like that. I like alliteration, so I'm a fan.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for alliteration.
I am too. I am a big time. And then I kind of ruined the surprise a little bit, but I'll sort of roll it out. Now Matt's going to have a special guest. I'm not involved in the presentation, but I will be with AP Strange in Gettysburg. I'm going on the road trip with him.
Hell yeah, road trip.
Yeah, because when he mentioned he was going down to Gettysburg and driving down, I was like, well, shit, I'll go. I haven't been to Gettysburg in like 20 years. So, and long before I got into the paranormal. So I will be in attendance at the event and on the road with Matt. We're hoping to hit some weird places along the way.
Yeah. Last time I was in Gettysburg, a tornado rolled through. So I hope that doesn't happen this time.
Really? I didn't know that was like tornado country.
Well, I don't know that it always is, but I was a kid and I went there with my family. We were in the battlefields, and showing my age here, we had the tour on tape. You get like the cassette tape that has the tour.
Yeah.
Park in a battlefield, and then you play the tape, and it tells you about it, and then you're supposed to like eject the tape and drive to the next site and push it. So as we started driving away, there was like the emergency tones, and they were like, "Get off the roads." There was a funnel cloud spotted right near the Gettysburg battlefields. And
holy shit!
Yeah.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah. And if you've ever been in the middle of those battlefields, like there's nowhere really to go. Like we were camping down there. We had to drive all the way back to the campground. So it was wild.
Jeez. Yeah. Wow. Well, yeah, I was there. I distinctly remember I was there the weekend after the last episode of Seinfeld. So this would have been May of '98. So that long ago. Yeah. So, and I wasn't into the paranormal back then. So I'm looking forward to seeing the big town and all the ghostness of it all. Yeah.
I mean, the venue that it's at is like the 1863 Inn Gettysburg. I imagine that place is haunted. It's been there since 1863.
So. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. So anyone listening, if you're a Binnall of America listener, if you're an AP Strange Show listener, talking to you, Black Wolf Oates, you could drive up. Black Wolf, you got a car.
Yeah.
So get in the car and drive on up and meet Matt and me. And, I hesitate to say this because you don't know what kind of riffraff will poke their heads out of the prairie dog hole. But like, if you're up there, folks, shoot me or Matt a message, and maybe we'll grab a beer with you one of the nights we're there. So we would definitely we would be down to clown.
Yeah, if Gettysburg isn't too far from you. But I'm not even really sure what's close to Gettysburg. I guess like DC.
Not much. I guess, yeah. It was hard to figure out. Well, we're doing this like cascading loop, like down like past New York and shit, as far as I can tell. So it's, I suppose if you're from New York and shit, if you're from the New York area, Connecticut, I think it's, relatively close. West Virginia is close to Pennsylvania. So anybody in that general area, it should be a happening event. Former Binnall America guest Sam Baltrusis will also be presenting there. So should be good.
So I've heard. I don't have the full list in front of me, but everybody that I've seen, there's a lot of names I don't necessarily know that are presenting there, and I think that's part of the idea is they like to feature people that don't necessarily like have a huge following online or whatever, but more on the basis of the ideas they're presenting. But there seemed like there were some really interesting ones that are going to be there. There was like a stone tape theory presentation. There was one about color and magic, I think, like art and magic, that kind of thing. That
nice.
Sounded really interesting. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it as well. Alex puts on a good show from what I understand, and they very much are sort of geared toward academia and sort of trying to be like an academic conference. So it'll be interesting to see how different it is maybe from your run-of-the-mill paranormal event. It'll be, that's what I'm kind of mostly curious about. So it'll be fun.
Oh, right. It's not like, you're not necessarily like TV personalities signing autographs and stuff.
I hope not.
So I'm sure my certification in kook sciences will serve me well there.
So Loch Ness, is this? So it's like Crowley and sort of. We're not going to give away the thing, but it's like Crowley and sort of the his house there and Loch Ness and all that kind of.
That's it's a big part of it, and in particular with the Crowley stuff, I feel like there's a lot that gets exaggerated, which to me speaks to a bigger problem within Forteana. Problem. You could call it a problem, I guess. Because the way I look at it, I've always been kind of a dabbler and interested in various forms of magic and occultism, divination, and all that stuff, but also cryptozoology and also parapsychology. And I always kept them somewhat separate in my mind. And then was able to like later on kind of play with mixing them a little bit. But I think a lot of people come at it more from just a straight Fortean angle, or in the case of the Loch Ness Monster, they're looking at it purely as a cryptozoological idea, like a flesh and blood creature. But when you start to go further out, when you zoom out from that and say, oh, okay, wait, there's like magic and myth and legend involved, the tendency tends to be to really misconstrue what the goals and purposes of the magical workings there were, So what ends up happening is that you misconstrue the philosophy behind the occult working that's at the center of the story, and you end up kind of with a more like Hollywood style, like Hellboy movie style picture in your mind of what's going on, which is fun and entertaining, but I think it's worthwhile to look at it and see like really more what Crowley was hoping to accomplish there, and whether or not that actually, could have conjured the Loch Ness Monster. But I mean, I'm getting into more fun and bizarre angles with it as well. I mean, people who have heard me talk about Nessie before know that I'm a big fan of Doc Shields, who passed away last summer, I guess. He was like a wizard, a musician, stage magician, a huckster, former, a real wild card kind of guy. And but I mean, he conjured the Loch Ness Monster and got a photograph, which one of the photos that he took is one of those ones that pops up in like all the books,
Oh, interesting.
It's more of like a color photo where Nessie's mouth is wide open. So if you've ever seen that one where it's just,
I have not seen that. Will that be in the presentation?
Yeah, it definitely will.
Oh, excellent. All right.
I'm debating whether I should include the photo of the nude witches that were part of the invocation on the shores of Loch Ness.
You're going to get kicked off stage, dude.
Might have to put the little black bars over.
Yeah, you're going to have to. You're going to have to. Well, it should be a lot of fun. It's going to be, it'll be a happening. I know that for sure. And
right.
I am in no way affiliated with the conference. They're not paying me or anything. I'm not, I'm not a paid spokesman or whatever. I'm just a dude along for the ride. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. And you know, on a totally unrelated topic, just make sure you check your mailbox tomorrow, because it should be, the thing that I sent should be there, you know.
Oh,
yeah.
I was actually mostly saying that so to absolve Alex and company of any responsibility. They are not responsible for me. So if you don't. Oh man. Yeah, Nessie. I love Nessie. It feels like Nessie's making a comeback, kind of, in the last few years. Than I can recall, like in the years I've been really kind of tracking this. It's like there seems to be more with the opening of the Loch Ness Center, the tourist attraction that's up there now. They're making a real effort to sort of like boost Nessie in a way that I think hasn't happened in quite some time out there.
Yeah, I mean, they had that really big search for Nessie a couple of years ago, where they did that big day where everybody was out at the same time, kind of like.
It's an annual thing now. It's an annual search. So it's right. I mean, they're kind of trying to turn it into like a Roswell weekend kind of thing for Nessie.
Yeah. Yep. And another of your former guests, Katie Elizabeth, was just out there a bunch looking for Nessie.
Yeah.
Took time off from Champ to go look for Nessie. So I'm interested in seeing what she came up with.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Well, if anyone could find something, it's Katie. She's determined. She's real determined to uncover something out there.
Yeah. But this is one of those things where I feel like I'm weirdly kind of ahead of the curve. Like I on the pulse of something that's going to like make a comeback. But with like, you know, Nessie, I've been talking about Nessie since I came online and started publishing. My earliest blog posts are all about Nessie. So I'm kind of referring to some of my earliest online writings regarding to the weird for this. And, but also like the weird Elvis stuff. I feel like there's so much weird Elvis in the popular mindset now. And I was like, I kind of picked that to be the most way out there, like, oddball thing to write about, and like no, this guy's got a book about it and everybody's interviewing him and just taking it very seriously.
I saw the guy with the Elvis book. It's crazy. Well, that happens if you're in this for a long time. It's like all of a sudden something you're talking about will pop up, like completely off the out of left field, where it's like when I really first got super into flat Earth, I was like, oh, maybe I'll write a book about it. And then next thing I know, like within a week, I see someone's like, I'm writing a book about flat Earth. I'm like, oh, fuck you. I'll forget that. I'm not going to write a fucking book on flat Earth. There's one coming out like in a month. That sucks, but that's just how it is.
Yeah. And I mean, writing a book is hard. At least writing a good book is hard.
Well, there's plenty of really bad books out there. It seems like they're part and parcel sometimes in this community, for sure. In the paranormal, it's like where you have to. It's really weird. It's like I don't know at many other fields where it's like, you're like expected to have a book. You know what I mean? It's like if you're really into something else or whatever, if you're into, I don't know, sports or music or whatever, it's like you're not necessarily like expected to have a book. But in the paranormal, it's like if you haven't written a book yet, you haven't, like I gotten shit from people that are like, oh, when you write a book, then people really take you seriously. It's like, bro, fuck you. Like, I've been in this for 20 years. I don't need, I don't really care who takes me seriously or whatever. Like, that's
I have a deep fear of being taken seriously myself.
exactly. Exactly.
But no, I mean, that's something I've actually been meaning to write about is, weird books, what I've always classified as weird books on the weird, not even necessarily paranormal, but definitely the paranormal, as a form of like outsider literature. Because, a lot of them aren't good books, aren't written well, but that's like part of the charm, Like when you read some of these old Contact D books, and they were just like stapled together affairs of somebody ghostwriting like some dude's story.
Yeah. Well, that's why I like Behold a Pale Horse. It's like seminal because it's like just cobbled together. It looks like mimeographed pages and shit, and it's like way too fucking big for any normal bookshelf. It's like bro,
lunatic ramblings.
Yeah. Like I have it like sitting around here somewhere, and it's just too big to fit in a bookshelf. It's like too tall and shit. It's like, bro, what did you fucking write? A coffee table book? Like of your crazy fucking ramblings and shit. It's like it's something else, man. It's wild.
Yeah, with whole passages that are in all caps.
Yeah. Some guy wrote a book on Bill Cooper, and I guess the book is like not his book, but Bill Cooper's book, Behold the Pale Horse. It's like I guess it's like super popular in prisons and shit, which is like the strangest.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah,
like as far as weird books go, that is one that I have consistently always found. If you go to like a Barnes and Noble or something, for the longest time, it was like you could find maybe a book on tarot and maybe one by Aleister Crowley, and then there would be Behold the Pale Horse.
Yeah,
I'm just like, why did they always consistently have a copy of it and like not anything else? It was always so strange to me that there would barely be any UFO books, barely any other magic books or anything like that. But that one was like a mainstay, and I guess the answer is because it's known and it sells. Has consistently sold for a long time. Yeah,
it's like crazy popular. It's like, and it's funny because it's so outdated, really, like the material and everything. It's like it's got to be like 30 years old now. Like half the shit that he probably predicted is like already the time, like he predicted shit for like the turn of the century. It's like, bro, it's 2025. Like, come on, these are like quaint predictions. But yeah, it's interesting. Now you say you were, I don't necessarily want to give away the farm here, but you said you were working on something with Ashtar Command. So tell me, I'm very unfamiliar with Ashtar Command. So tell me what even is this?
Yeah, well, it's been a long running interest of mine. And I mean, on the topic of writing a book and how it's hard to write a book, I've been toying with the idea of writing one for a long time, and I had decided to recently, and then I have had really no time to devote to it, which sucks. I got a little bit of headway on trying to write a book, but I mean, for the longest time, I've been looking into the broadcast intrusion in England in 1977. Okay. That was from Ashtar Command, basically. It was Binnall from Ashtar Command. So that has led me down many roads of looking at different things, and I want to be able to write about all of them somehow and in some way. May resemble a book in the future. But the Ashtar Command is something that's incredibly difficult to look into because it's a name that really made the rounds, and everybody has all kinds of people have adopted and used since the earliest days of the Contact D era.
Okay, yeah.
So where this first pops up in the Contact D literature is from George Van Tassel at Giant Rock. And he first makes his first appearance in a flying saucer in the book I Wrote a Flying Saucer by George Van Tassel. in which George Van Tassel never rides a flying saucer. It's a very strange title for that book. But he does talk to Ashtar. So it's a really I ended up, this is the one part that I have written, is like I tried to write a pretty comprehensive history of Ashtar Command because I don't think anybody's actually really done that before. I haven't been able to find anyone that's kind of traced the history from, Van Tassel in 1952 to about the time of the broadcast intrusion. I ended up extending it a little further than that because by the time you get to the 70s into the 80s, you have Tuella. She was a really wacky lady that I ended up finding more interesting than I thought I would. So I got into that. Yeah, I got into that a little bit more. But yeah, it's I guess the question, who is Ashtar or what is Ashtar was what got me really interested in it. And when you ask me if there's anything I've been sparking my interest lately, I'm like, I don't know, man. I got really bogged down with the Ashtar stuff and then had to switch gears to get this Loch Ness monster thing like ready to go for next month. Yeah. So it's kind of hard to think about anything else. It's to the point where if I'm not reading a book because I'm about to interview the author of that book and it doesn't have to do with Ashtar or the Loch Ness Monster, I just don't have time for it lately.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. Well, it's hard to balance writing and podcasting, I've found.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. When I first got on board with Coast to Coast doing the news, that's pretty much when we folded Binnall of America and wrapped it up because I was like, I just don't have the time to do both of these things. And then after a few years, it was like, all right, well, I got my legs under me here with this Coast gig, so now I can bring Binnall of America back. And now we're doing a pretty good job of balancing the two worlds. But it is very challenging. I found once, and I was like writing a lot at Binnall of America before I launched the podcast originally. And then once I launched the podcast, I'm like, well, fuck that. I'm not going to write as much anymore. I don't feel like writing. So it is very hard to balance the two.
Well, you had the whole blog part of the website.
Yeah.
But then you had other writers on there too, which was pretty great.
Yeah. Leslie Gunter, the late great Regan Lee. Yeah. A lot of cool folks. Tina Senna. Yeah. The mysterious Tina Senna. Yeah. Good folks. Broadcast intrusions. Have you ever? I'm sure you've looked at the Max Headroom one, right? That's like my favorite creepy ass broadcast intrusion. It is just so. It's not like really menacing, but it's just fucking creepy.
I think it's menacing. It's menacing in a way. Yeah.
Yeah.
I find it very unsettling. But yeah, that one. I mean, I got some pretty reliable information on how that came to be and what happened there, but I'm not at liberty to talk about it, unfortunately.
Oh, no. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
But I did kind of get to the bottom of that one.
Interesting. Would that be in the book, possibly?
I might allude to it, but yeah, it's something that I was sworn to secrecy on, so NDAs and whatnot.
Wow. So you're saying Tenny did it, essentially?
Not
Tenny.
really. It might have been Tenny, yeah. Well, how old would he have been then?
12.
Yeah. 12-year-old Tenny.
12-year-old
Well, it was in Chicago, not Detroit, but I guess he could have got over there,
Plausible deniability, dude.
Yeah. But that's the thing is like along the way, it's funny because I mean, my very first one of my very first podcast appearances ever was on Conspiranormal, and I was talking about this broadcast intrusion there. And at the time, I thought maybe I'd write a couple blog posts about it, and that would be that. But it's something that just got deeper and deeper, and there's been a lot of weird synchronicities and overlap with everything that I look at. To the point that it's like, I really wish I kept a journal on it, which I did not. But so I kind of had to piece together like what happened and in what order. But there are weird ties between like the Max Headroom incident and that broadcast intrusion, and things that were happening like in my personal life. So
weird. That's strange.
Well, I mean, there was a guy that did a podcast about the intrusion, and he called it.
Sure it's a famous story. Yeah.
Yeah, he did. It was one of those limited run podcasts where they cover one story and have a beginning and an end. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he called it The Intrusion. So
I'll have to look into that. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, and he reached out to me and interviewed me for an hour, and then used like little snippets of me talking for one of the episodes.
Yeah.
And I kind of told him, like, just keep me in the loop, and if you have any more questions, let me know. And then he just never did. And then all of a sudden the podcast was out, and he chopped what I said down considerably, and then spent the rest of the time downplaying me as an amateur blogger.
What?
And kind of saying that, basically talking shit, just being like, in like a really subtle way, just being like, oh, but he never thought of this, and he didn't look into this. And then, so basically he said, I didn't look into the UFO.
Now you're making me not want to listen to this thing.
No, I mean, honestly, it's really bad. I don't like the really overproduced podcasts that sound like.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
Because they just cram a ton of commercials into them. It's all ads, and then there's always the cliffhangers, and they make it sound like a TV show.
Yeah, the whole thing is. Yeah, I mean, it's
usually it could be like 2 1-hour episodes, but they stretch it into like 8 or 10 like half-hour long ones, and then have to repeat stuff and pad it out. Don't like it. But anyway, I was in one of the episodes. And he was saying, oh yeah, but he didn't look in, I talked to AP, but he never looked into the UFO religion angle. And anyway, there was this guy, Reverend Bob Short, and then he proceeded to, he talked about 2 guys, Reverend Bob Short, who was a UFO contactee, and he's the one that's responsible for the term Ashtar Command.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, so I mean, he knew Van Tassel. He was there at the beginning, and then they kind of had a falling out. But and Short took Ashtar away from Van Tassel. Basically, Van Tassel stopped talking about Ashtar, and Short started talking to beings from Ashtar Command, quote unquote. And he also talked about a ufologist from England named Rex Dutta, Reginald Rex Dutta. Who is a theosophist and a flying saucer researcher in England, who was the mentor to my good friend Steve Mills, who's been on my show twice now. And Steve has been like a longtime UFO researcher and rock star and time traveler. We've been good friends and talking this whole time. So Steve is intimately involved with the whole thing. Got me turned on to Rex's work. And in my blog posts, I wrote about both Bob Short and Rex Dutta. So in the same breath that this guy is claiming that I never looked into the UFO religion angle, which I think both Short and Dutta fit into in some way, he was quoting verbatim from my blog and not crediting me.
Oh, man.
Talking about them. Yeah. So if you go listen, I think it's like the 3rd or 4th episode. If you listen to him talking about Rex Dutta and you listen to him talking about Bob Short, and then go look at my blog posts on it, you can see like word for word. He is verbatim just copy pastaing my blog post.
What a shit.
And the thing is, almost literally nobody has really written much about Rex Dutta online. It's very hard to find info about him. So if you hear anybody, it would be a stretch to think that this guy was independently coming up with this. especially
Wow.
if I was on his radar because he talked to me. So
Weird. Jeez.
So not sour grapes or anything, but
yeah, it's like a reverse plug. This is
well, I'm not trying to plug it at all. I don't care.
No, I know.
I mean,
I'm not going to listen to it now.
It's been years, so I stayed quiet at the time because I didn't want to be like, I didn't get online and like gripe about it at the time.
Yeah.
But and people were like messaging me. They're like, "Oh man, I heard you on the show. Like, congratulations!" Because it was like, it was kind of a big deal. It was popular enough when it came out, and and I was like, yeah, thanks. I just didn't say anything, but it's like, I don't think I came off sounding great on that show.
Yeah, well, calling someone an amateur blogger, that's pretty like,
Well, part of the problem is that's how I identified. I called myself an amateur researcher and blogger at the time, which I thought was just me being honest and humble.
Right.
And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to stop calling myself that because it really sucks to hear it from somebody else when they're saying it in a dismissive a way,
Yeah, well, it's like blogger has become like this pejorative from people in the mainstream where it's like, oh, you're just a blogger. It's like, fuck you, dude. The mainstream media is terrible, dude.
Well, right. I mean, I'll share stuff I wrote and I'm like, check out my blog post. And people are like, we'll reshare it and say, this is a wonderful article by AP Strange. I'm like, it's a blog post, dude. It's not an article.
Right.
I mean, I guess call it what you want, but it's like people are afraid to call it a blog post because like that almost diminishes it. They feel like they're going to insult you if they call it what it is.
Yeah. Well, it's very like, I think it's also kind of just antiquated, I guess, maybe just blog, you know what I mean? It's like, wasn't that like, didn't it come from Blogger? Like, wasn't that a website or something isn't that how
that's where my site was hosted for the longest time. It's Blogger, which has been bought by, it became Blogspot and then it got bought by Squarespace, I guess. So my domain is under Squarespace now. But it's not monetized. Everything on there is free and there's no ads and everybody can just enjoy it. It's like, that's another weird reverse psychology thing where if it's free, people think it's not worth looking at.
No, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
I'd like to think it is. So both my show and my blog are both free. Enjoy or don't, but just enjoy it. I feel like it's worth checking out at least because you're not going to lose anything except the couple of minutes it takes you to read. But yeah, so that was a long and really roundabout way of saying that I was pretty bummed out at the time that I was listening to that show because I felt pretty
hoodwinked.
I felt like I had been kind of sucker punched with that, where he let me on the show and then just left me out of the loop and then turned around and not only diminished my contribution, but then plagiarized the stuff that he was diminishing, like my research,
It's pretty fucked up. Yeah. Well, if it makes you feel better, I never heard anything about this. So it didn't reach my ear.
Well, I mean, that's part of the thing is like, I didn't bother complaining about it because I'm like, I don't really even see that many people talking about this show. So like, why give them the
Streisand effect? Yeah.
So, but all of that's a roundabout way of saying I was at work and I was listening to it in my truck and I was bummed out and frustrated just because I'm like, well, I feel like this guy really kind of mischaracterized me and then kind of plagiarized me. And I was like, not only that, he claims to have solved the
mystery
of it. And once the podcast is over, the mystery will be over, I guess. And then what am I supposed to do with it? Like, I guess I just don't have a say anymore if it's a mystery that's solved. And I went into this bar room for work. I was there on official business, but I was in a bar. And in the bar, there's a upright arcade game machine. And it's one of these.
Headroom, right?
Well, I'm getting there. This arcade game machine is always plugged in. The sound is always off. But this one day, the sound came on, and I heard this voice come out of it that said, beware, I live. I am Ashtar. And I was like, what the hell?
That's
and I
wild.
got up. Turns out he didn't actually say I am Ashtar. It was just a name that kind of sounded like that.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And I wasn't prepared to talk about this right now, but I don't remember the name of the actual game. But people that played video games back in the 80s will, the real arcade heads back then would recognize the "Beware I Live" thing.
Yeah.
I ended up looking into this game, and Sinistar is what it was.
Yeah. Okay.
But that kind of like old-fashioned audio interface with video games, it gets kind of grainy and muffled, so it sounded like Ashtar. But I ended up looking into it, and the guy that did the voice for Sinistar in the game was a voice actor and a DJ on the same network, the radio attachment of this affiliate of the same TV network that the Max Headroom incident happened.
Oh, interesting. Wow.
Yeah, so it's like this weird connection. I'm just like, whoa, this guy worked for that network. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty weird.
Yeah.
Did you contact the guy who made this fucking podcast that threw you under the bus? Like after? I feel like I'd feel compelled after to be like, hey, fuck you, dude. Not like publicly maybe, but like certainly send him a fucking email and be like, hey, what's the deal, dude?
No, I never bothered. I mean, I was hoping he'd keep me in the loop, like, even just let me know what he's up to. I thought we could be in communication. But I mean, honestly, this is a guy that went to university, as he said. He's a British guy. He's a kid. He's like in his 20s. He went to university, and then he made some video about like biblically accurate angels, which is, that's also kind of hogwash if you actually know things about like the occult, instead of just have a basic theology degree. I don't think he even got his degree. I think he went to 1 year of university, made this one YouTube video, and then it blew up. Like it went viral. And pretty quickly, he was able to just keep generating content and make money off of it. And that was it.
Right.
So then he got like a contract through whatever podcast show, Enterprise financed the intrusion, and then, was on a mission to solve the mystery, and then wrapped it up nice and tidy at the end with something that only kind of made sense as an answer. And I mean, to me, like whether or not his solution to the problem was right, I think the personal story of me looking into it, and along with Steve and the different personalities involved and all the weird synchronicities and all the little the various side tangents and side quests that it involved to look into this are worthwhile, worth writing about, and I think people would enjoy hearing these weird connections between things.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I hope it's in the book. I'm sorry about this experience you had. It sounds shitty.
Well, it's funny. I mean, I only got into it before. Yeah, I mean, that only goes to show you that I really didn't. I've only privately complained about it to a few people, like at the time. I mean, Steve wasn't thrilled either because he was also on the show with me. We both went on and talked to him together. And but I mean, the guy didn't give us any indication that he was even open to any kind of like woo explanations. So Steve and I were kind of on our best behavior and kind of, keeping it down to earth more, and then he's like, well, they didn't even consider this. And I'm like, you're talking to fucking the Ethereum Society, man. That has nothing to do with Ashtar. He went off and interviewed Uri Geller after that. It's like, why? What does Uri Geller have to do with this?
I find like, and this is going to sound gatekeepery, but I don't really give a fuck. But it's like, I do find, and I'm not even a part of any particular community. I'm sort of just an observer of the paranormal, but I guess you could say I'm a paranormalist, and I've certainly been a part of the fucking community for like 20 plus years now. And it's like, I do find that you get these people, outsiders, and they kind of like try to understand sort of what this world and the people, And it's like, bro, until you're in the fucking trenches, like until you're really in the fucking trenches, even if you don't believe in the stuff, like until you're in the trenches, you cannot really, you just can't fucking get it. Like you'll always be just an arm's length away from the people. Do you know what I mean? Like I can talk to people that believe crazy shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I don't know, dude. I just feel like I'm more on their level than someone who kind of just comes in, some fly-by-night journalist or whatever, who's like, oh, get a load of these people that believe wacky shit. It's like,
Yeah.
I can empathize with somebody who believes wacky shit because I believe wacky shit. You know, it's like me with the flat earthers. Like they fucking made fun of me because I like believe in UFOs. And it's like, okay, well, we're on the same level then. We just believe different weird shit. And it's like, you get some of these people who come in and they're just immediately like, they just turn their nose up at anybody who fucking believes strange stuff. And it's like, get the fuck out of here, dude.
Yeah, I mean, and it's because you really can't look at something like, say, UFOs from an outside perspective and just kind of like hit the highlights and like, oh, well, you know, Kenneth Arnold and Roswell and this and that and Project Blue Book and then Condon Report and like there's lots of hoaxes and there's lots of lights and who knows, you know. It's because there's so many layers to every individual little piece that have to have some kind of scrutiny. And you know, I don't consider myself a content creator. I feel like I wasn't made for these times in some ways, but I guess this is also probably just the only time I could exist in this kind of world, doing what I do and thinking the way I think. But for my part, if I'm going to write about something, I really want to make sure I understand it, you know? So it takes me a long time because I have a full-time job that takes up a ton of time. I got a family that I want to spend time with and I like hanging out with. It's like, you know, like I try to enjoy my life and I try to make sure that when I am writing, I'm writing the best stuff I possibly can, you know? And that I understand it well enough that I'm not making grievous errors in writing about it and understanding it more from the inside than from an outsider perspective, you know?
Right. Exactly.
To your point, like, I mean, people have written basic histories of Ashtar Command as a religious movement or from the perspective of like, these are cults, like cult ideas. But it's like, it's not always necessarily that. Like he pops up in a lot of weird ways. And then that gets filtered from the academic anthropology and religion angle to journalists who want to give a shorthand answer of what Ashtar Command is and what that history is. And they almost invariably tie it to like the concept of ascended masters and then tie ascended masters directly back to Madame Blavatsky. And it's like really a lot more twists and turns along the path than that and a lot of different threads to pull on. And it's a huge oversimplification, you know? So in reading about this stuff, I mean, one of the characters that I was writing about, Rex Dutta, was a theosophist. And in order to understand him properly, I read the entirety of Blavatsky's Secret Doctrine, you know? That was no small undertaking, and it took a long time. So, I mean, I like to try to make sure I understand things as well as I possibly can when I'm writing about them. And sometimes that can actually mean taking years to do the work, you know?
Yeah, well, absolutely. Well, far too often, there's a lot of folks, who get mixed up in this, and it's like they got all the social media and they get the logo and shit before they do any actual content creation, for lack of a better term, you know, before they produce anything. It's like, but to sort of circle back a little bit to what I was saying too, it's like, until you're kind of like have been on the receiving end of sort of like that askance look from someone because you're involved in this stuff, like that's kind of, in my mind, sort of like the trial by fire or whatever. Like, now you're one of us. Like, at least now you're part of this. Like, now you've been shit on by by somebody at the cookout because you have an interest in this stuff. Now you can kind of understand. And I think there's a lot of times some of these media publications will cover stuff, books or magazine articles or whatever, and they always try to keep like an arm's length away, and it's like, you don't really get it until you're in the trenches, man. You really don't get it. You know, it's that's why I'll read some of this stuff and I'll be like, okay, this person doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. Like, you know,
right.
I read something the other day where someone's like, oh, they think that something about Area 51 in Roswell. And I'm like, okay, so you don't know what the fuck you're like. It's kind of like when you know the shit and you read someone write something and it's like, all right, so either you're trying to be funny or you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And more often than not, it's the latter. So it can be pretty frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, it absolutely can. I feel like you just hit on something that made me think of something else, and now I can't remember what it was. But
that happens to me all the time.
I'm sure it'll come back. Yeah.
I think it's a product of age.
Yeah. No, I was listening to you, and I wanted to see where that was going, and now I just I had it ready to go. I was right at the tip of my tongue, and then it just disappeared.
Yeah, you've looked a lot at the contactees. Do you think there's any, like, I'm fascinated by them in a sense, sort of like again, from sort of observing it from a top, because obviously we weren't there when all this was going on. Like, it's sort of a general sort of kicking off question, but do you think there's any story that is even kind of fucking like has some, grain of truth to it, where this person was genuinely visited by someone from another world? Do you think this was just sort of a hysteria that got mixed up with, the Space Brothers thing and people looking for attention and grifters and unstable individuals who all kind of came together in this odd little community?
Well, I mean, there's so many different layers to it, really. And I think there was genuine weird phenomena going on, but I also think, and there's evidence to back this up, that the U.S. government was infiltrating some of this and propagating some of it.
Yeah.
And people tend to think about that in the sense of cover-ups and saucers and saucer crashes and things, but it's very much present in the contactees as well. You do have, a lot of them were being investigated as possible communists and things like that.
Yeah.
Spooks around, and spooks manipulating stuff. So there's a spooky angle, and then there's the spooky angle, where a lot of this involves channeling, and that's where I run into a sticking point with some of it, is that with like Van Tassel, like I said, he doesn't actually get on a flying saucer and ride in that first book. He doesn't do it at all. He's just channeling, the whole time. That's just channeled messages. And George Hunt Williamson similarly was channeling through automatic writing, something that was sort of like a spirit board, like an Ouija board, but not quite. Never been really clear on what exactly it looked like. I'd love to know. And radio communication through like Morse code,
Oh, weird.
Part of the book, The Saucers Speak, involves like basically Morse code coming from an unknown source. And he had a radio operator named Streeter in the book that's only known. In the original book, he's only known as Mr. R, like Mr. Radio, you know? So, I mean, a lot of the earliest contactee stuff had nothing to do with like actually seeing humanoids and boarding craft. It's like actually more akin to spiritualism.
Right.
And that's kind of the funny thing, is that people jump to theosophy and they, want to point at Madame Blavatsky and say that that's what this all is. And I'm like, it's a lot closer to like American spiritualism and stuff like that. Because, Blavatsky was kind of anti-channeling at a certain point,
Right.
people like to talk about ascended masters, and that was more of a concept that came around after she died, and was tied in much more with people like William Dudley Pelley, and there was a woman named Edith Hill, I think. She went by EPH.
Yeah.
I have it in my notes. But yeah, really, it's much more spiritualism and weird ideas about Christianity, which that's what I ended up finding really interesting with Tuella, who came around a little later, is that she was an American evangelical church minister, which I found out doesn't necessarily preclude talking to people from other worlds. You're allowed to fold that in here. Yeah, I mean, if you get a ministership with the American evangelical churches, at least back then, you could have your own ministry and kind of preach whatever you wanted as long as you stuck to certain core tenets. So she became like the main channel for Ashtar, but she was like an evangelical church minister.
Nice.
Really weird. So you see a lot of these like Christian and spiritualist and frankly fascist elements into the Ascended Masters, which runs alongside Ashtar, and subsumes it, and sometimes not, because there is a bunch of different things going on. Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, I think that channeling does something. Like, I don't think all channelers are just making shit up. I think that there are intelligences on the other side sometimes, at least some of the time, right? Yeah. So as far as actually getting on craft and flying to another planet, I'm open to ideas about other realities where our physics don't necessarily apply. Yeah. But I mean, we know what Venus looks like, and we know what the moon is like, and old Buck Nelson probably didn't meet a dog from Venus, but in some alternate form of reality, perhaps he did encounter something,
I mean, you never know. Yeah.
I don't really write any of it off. I mean, people love the Joe Simonton story. People are obsessed with the Joe Simonton story these days.
I know.
Because how could you not love space pancakes? I get it, but when you have photographs like those of George Adamski's with his Coleman lantern flying saucers,
Well, it's certainly like sort of a cultural moment, because it's not like people are being contacted. I'm sure there are people out there who claim they are even today, but it's like it's not like in the zeitgeist like it was then. It was like a whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, and there was there was whole festivals around it and all that, and I mean, it became passé at a certain point, became old fashioned, but I have entertained the idea that maybe there were things communicating with people more often prior to the mid to late 60s, and then they stopped for whatever reason.
Do you have a theory on why they might have stopped?
I do. I think it has something to do with an operation called Starfish Prime, which involved detonating nukes in the Earth's upper atmosphere, basically in space, to test them, right? Because the whole idea is that you keep testing nukes on Earth, you're making the Earth more radioactive. But if you test them nukes, you're not really messing anything up. But this happened around the time that Van Allen first discovered the belts of radiation around the Earth that bear his name, the Van Allen belts. Turns out that detonating nukes in space, they asked him to do a study to see if that would affect the Van Allen belts at all. And he came back and it was like inconclusive. He's like, I don't know, but probably, and it might not be a good thing. And of course, the U.S. government's dangling a grant over his head, being like, well, if you want this grant money to study this further, you're just going to go ahead and change that report and say it's going to be fine, because we're going to do it either way, So he kind of had to. And then, the Van Allen belts were permanently altered after after the nuclear detonations in space. So
Interesting.
yeah, so there might have been something about that configuration before that allowed signals to come in that it no longer does.
Interesting. Wow. Okay.
And then right around 1977, incidentally, when the broadcast intrusion happened, is when they started launching the first geopositional satellites and things like that.
Yeah.
A lot of satellites went up that interfered with terrestrial broadcasts and a lot of stuff coming from space. So space, we've been closed off more and more from space. And now with Starlink, who even knows,
Yeah. Well, I saw a thing recently that was like, if they keep like the whole upper atmosphere or whatever is like full of shit. It's like just
junk.
littered with stuff. Yeah, and they're like the worst. This is going to get worse and worse, and it's going to keep like breaking into each other. And essentially, they're concerned that it's going to like create like a fucking shell around the planet of like junk. And then it's like it's crazy, but like we may get stuck here on Earth because we can't fly through this cloud of fucking junk that's gonna tear apart the spacecraft. It's like, boy, we really like just fucking ruin everything, dude. Like, what the fuck?
You can't take us anywhere, It's like
really, yeah. It's really ridiculous. It's like, oh man, come on.
And that's what's happening. Is flying saucers are going by now, and they're like, "What a shithole! I don't want to go there."
Yeah, I'm sure they're like, I'm not even going to try to go down there because it'll fuck the ship up. Like, we can't fly through this cloud of garbage that these people like. It's like trying to put a boat through that like garbage barge that's out there in the ocean.
Right.
It's really, it's really quite something. We're a shitty civilization, I think.
Yeah.
Oh man,
we need to just stop. I think just stop it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Starlink is responsible for a sizable amount of that. Don't those satellites just burn out and fall out? Like,
I wouldn't be surprised. I know that, I know for a fact that they're responsible for like fucking UFO sightings all the time. And it's crazy because again, it's like sort of that thing like, well, if you're not in the scene, you don't like, because I cover this all the fucking time. It's like local news will be like, what were those strange lights in the sky on Thursday night? It turns out it was Starlink. It's like I see these stories like every 6 weeks. I'm like, who the fuck doesn't know by now that those are Starlink? But there are people out there and they look and they're like, oh shit, it was a string of lights. It's fucking aliens. Da 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 da. It's like, oh, come on, dude. And I guess like astronomers are super pissed because they're like fucking up the, just the way to observe and shit. So, yeah.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, it's frustrating.
For cheap internet, right? Not even that cheap, I don't think.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I've come to realize lately that the potential of the wonders of technology that we have always has to be leveraged against the capability of people to use it responsibly, or just even not in a shitty way. So
yeah. Well, I talked about that, I think, like at the start of the year with Red Pill Junkie, where it was like the whole thing where they're like, the UFO community was like, they have free energy and they won't fucking give it to us and all this. And it's like, yeah, because if they gave us free energy, like people would probably fucking use it to make bombs and shit. Sort of like how they're using 3D printing to make guns. And now that's a big problem.
Right.
It's like the people's worst impulses when you give them technology. Yeah. It's like some fucking asshole's going to be like, well, I'm going to make a fucking black hole and suck the whole planet. It's like, great. Thanks, dude. Way to go. So a lot of this shit, I think, is, when they say there's like a conspiracy to cover it up, it's like, yes, because we're not responsible enough as a species to handle this shit. Just because you and I think we are doesn't.
There's too many goddamn huckleberries out there.
Yeah, huckleberries, dude. They're out there. The huckleberries. Yeah, exactly.
That's a callback to Tim's appearance on my show. If you didn't hear it, so you go back and find that. All the huckleberries. Yeah, no, I was thinking about this earlier today because I recently did an episode with Michael M. Hughes about AI and large language models and stuff like that, and then was listening to a show today that was by somebody who I really respect, Sequoia Kennedy. He's bringing back not the Nonsense Bazaar. He was the co-host of that, but he's kind of doing a new thing and getting his sea legs and released a new thing on Patreon.
Yeah.
Which you don't have to pay for to get, and you can find it and just listen to it. But it was really interesting, and he's one of those guys that, like, if he wants to use AI and dick around with it, I'm thrilled, because I'm like, well, he's a smart dude with a good head on his shoulders, and I think I can trust him to go figure out what it's useful for me.
Right.
And it might sound like, if you listen to my episode and listen to his, it might sound like we're in stark contrast and really disagree with each other. And we may not agree completely with a lot of things, but the thing that came to mind for me was, we're talking about what these machines are capable of, but you're also talking about a public that does not care about any of that, doesn't care about the potential. They're being force-fed technology that they don't understand the implications of, and they're just gonna play with it and noodle around with it and do like harmful stuff with it,
Yeah, just wacky pictures and dumb shit just to start, and then fake shit. The fake shit's just ridiculous. It's like
well, here's something that blew my mind. I ended up in one of these Facebook groups. I end up in a lot of these because, what's Facebook for these days? Because I don't see anything I want to see. So I just join these groups hoping that it's at least tangential to my interests. And this one is, the entire point of the group basically is people writing a description of a movie that they vaguely remember and hoping somebody will figure it out, right?
Okay, yeah.
Like, it was this stupid movie that I saw with this like tiger that like attacked a woman and dragged her into this thing, and then but there's one person that keeps popping up in the comments, and they're like, well, I asked ChatGPT and here's what it came up with, and then posts like a whole thread of screenshots of ChatGPT's possible answers, and they're all way off. And I'm like, what kind of person spends their time like copying and pasting somebody's legitimate question in one of these groups to ChatGPT, and then sitting there and screenshotting every possibility and then uploading it? And it's like, don't you have anything better to do? Isn't the whole fun of this group to like jog your memory?
Mysteries. Yeah.
Jog your memory, see if you can remember what it was. Like, have I seen that? That sounds familiar.
Yeah, and like, find someone else who like actually saw it and they'll remember it and be like, yeah, it's this thing or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I assumed people were in that group because they like movies and they like solving puzzles.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you're just in there to copy and paste the question into ChatGPT, like, why are you there? That doesn't sound fun at all. You're just being like a gopher for bad answers that don't answer the question.
Well, you're not on Twitter anymore, so you may not see this, but it's like on Twitter, it's not that bad, but it's like there's a whole phenomenon like where someone will post something, and like within the first like 3 or 4 replies, there'll always be some fucking asshole that's like, Grok, is this true? Or like, Grok, can you tell me more about this? And it's just like, bro, why don't you fucking think for yourself? Like, why don't you go on? Like, the Google is already kind of wrapped up in the AI too, which is like, but still, at least if you're doing a Google search, you're kind of like trying to find out for yourself. It's not like they just believe whatever they're checking out, and they're like, all right, I'll let this thing do the thinking for me and tell me what's what. And it's like, you can't trust this shit. You don't fucking know.
Well, a lot of the search engines now, both Google and Bing, and I'm sure others have that in there, where when you ask a question, you search something, instead of getting search results, the top thing is the AI overview. The answer from AI, and that's really problematic, because you already had people, quote unquote, doing their own research. And coming up with wrong answers. Now you're having a machine do its own research and come up with wrong answers and give it to them with some veneer of authority. So that's the world we're walking into now. I mean, I've been dreading it for the whole time they've been talking about this rolling out, because I just know at work, every customer I run into, every person I talk to, I'm going to try to explain to them what I'm doing and how it works, and they're going to be like, "Well, I asked ChatGPT, and it says different than what you told me."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And it's like this appeal to authority that isn't an authority at all, you know? And I'm like, I don't know, like, I think I know what I'm talking about. This is my job, you know?
It's like it's WebMD, but for everything. It's crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can't imagine being a doctor like the past 10 years or so with every patient trying to tell you what they have, you know? Like,
yeah.
a million hypochondriacs every day.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, yeah. Well, it's crazy. It's a whole new world, man. It's pretty freaky. It's definitely you know, I went on some long tirade talking to Kutch a few weeks ago about it, where it's just like sometimes I wonder if the AI, if we're already captured by the technology, like if the technology's already like, yeah, I need you to we think we need to build more data centers and fucking all this other shit, and it's like, we're really doing it at the behest of the AI, you know? Mm-hmm. So I don't know, you know, we'll find out when the AI is like, all right, I have enough giant buildings that are like used for mining Bitcoin. And then it's going to be like, yeah, I don't want to mine Bitcoin anymore. Now I want to do whatever. So fuck off, all you people that built these giant, you know, server farms and shit. So I don't know.
So it's pretty insidious. I mean, like, not even just AI, but the technology more broadly, because it really depends on how you want to like define AI. But I've often, nobody ever agrees with me on this, but I always thought that like making the user experience better, like making things user friendly. Remember that term?
Yeah, yeah.
That was like the 90s computer term. I think they stopped using that eventually, but the user-friendly computer interface, you know, like everything software is user-friendly. It's all intuitive. Yeah. Now you got this helpful paperclip to tell you how to do things. Here's a wizard who know like all the Windows stuff. That to me is a great evil. I think that understanding how to talk to your computer and how to direct it to do what you want it to do was part of the price of entry for tech for a long time, you know.
Yeah.
And the user friendliness just basically allows, it equals the playing field, I guess, and it makes things more democratic and in a way that isn't necessarily good for everybody, you know. I guess is the way to look at it. I mean, I don't know. It's a controversial opinion, I guess. I mean, I'm sure it sounds bad the way I'm saying it, but I think that, like I said,
you don't want grandmas getting on email. I know what you're all about. You don't want old people to figure out how to get on Facebook.
Well, no, what I don't want is old people being scammed, and that happens all the time because they don't know what to avoid, you know?
Yeah, like, that does happen all the time.
Like, that's a great example, actually. Like, you get elderly people online, they just become marks. They become targets, you know? It's like...
Yeah.
So, like I said, the potential for good of the technology has to be leveraged against the responsibility of your average person and the ability of your average person to comprehend the implications. If you don't have that, if you don't have that as part of your calculus, then it's a recipe for disaster. So the average person is not understanding that the AI overview is not some super intelligence giving you the best answer possible. It's a large language model scraping together a bunch of possible answers and putting it in the form of sentences that it thinks you want to hear, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Based on how you pose the question, you know? But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are forgetting basic things like how to spell or how to get someplace when they're driving, because if they don't have technology there directing them every step of the way. And I personally don't want my hand held for every step of the way with everything I do.
Yeah, well, I read recently something like that kids can't read cursive and shit now. So it's like, it's really, it's just, we're just getting old, dude.
Well, no, it's worse than that. I have people my age that, or older, that don't know how to spell. They just don't know how to spell. And I'm like, you know what? You used to not be able to get like an office job if you couldn't spell.
Yeah.
But nowadays it's like you can fake it well enough if you're behind a computer because everything autocorrects for you.
Right.
It corrects your spelling as you go. So you don't need to know how to spell anything.
But then when they write like a note with like a pen and paper, it's like, what the fuck are you trying to say? Yeah.
Well,
and as a writer, right. You're like me. As a writer, it's like, that's the kind of shit that drives you up the wall, especially like people that do like, and it sounds so nerdy or whatever, but it's like there, and there, right. Or like it's, and they fuck that up. And it's like, oh, Christ, dude, this is basic shit. This is basic shit. Like, how do you not know there, and there? This is like fucking third grade shit, Like, come on. How do you fuck that up?
Yeah, I mean, that should have been a big indicator when social media broadened its scope, how many people, to the point where that's like a meme, like
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's like, were people always this dumb, or was it just or illiterate or whatever?
So. I don't think they were always this dumb, but
I think it's getting worse. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely getting worse. It's ridiculous, but
it's part of a process I call the grand dumbing. But
it's like idiocracy.
Yeah, I've been tracking it for at least 15 years and watching things just slowly get dumber. And at this point, it's undeniable. I think. I've never been more unhappy to be right than I am these days.
Yeah, well, it sounds really pessimistic, but just between everything, it does sound. I'm not much of a doomsday guy, but it just seems like things are getting worse, like all the way around. So it's like, I don't fucking know where this is headed. I really don't.
Me neither, but I think
nerve-wracking.
There has to, something's got to give at some point, I think,
Yeah.
And I think people are going to have to come around to some form of rationality at some point where we can actually defer to experts on things, and not everybody has their own individual truth of what the world actually is. That we need some form of coherence. We need some form of agreement. And I think we could start with, loving your fellow man, just.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no shit. Right. Yeah.
We're all humans, man.
Start.
Yeah, we're on the starship Earth, and we're all humans on the same crew, so get used to it.
Yeah, we're all on the bus together, dude. So maybe don't be a fucking asshole to like the person next to you, because we're all trying to get through this life together at the same time. It's pretty
right.
Yeah. Well, yeah. As times get more desperate, people get more fucking craven and shit. It's really it's rough. It's rough. On a lighter note, so is there what I like about you is you can talk about just about any sort of weird case. I like, you're like me in a lot of ways. You're a very wide palette of stuff. Is there any sort of, I don't necessarily want to put you on the spot. I'll throw some, have you given any thought to like Amelia Earhart?
Not recently. But
say that.
What about Noonan, man? Noonan always, dude always gets left out of the conversation.
The man who disappeared twice. Yeah. It's amazing how many people never fucking mention Noonan. That's like my pet thing, Noonan. Yeah. It's a bummer. Well, there's two things looking for her plane this year, so I don't know. I kind of am like, sort of like what you were talking about, the Max Headroom intrusion thing. It's like, I don't necessarily like want answers to some of these mysteries. I've reached a stage in my life where it's like the answer is never as satisfying as you think it's going to be.
Yeah. But I mean, Amelia Earhart's one of those that comes around at least once a year. and it's kind of weird that she hasn't yet. Not this year. I guess it would be coming up on the timeline because you always get the Nessie sighting, the alien big cats in the UK, some DB Cooper break in the case, some Amelia Earhart thing, and or the Voynich manuscript. These are like the perennials that just come back.
Yeah,
almost annually. Yeah.
Well, the Amelia Earhart thing did. Yeah, July 2nd. That's every year. Is when they just announced a new search on July 2nd because that's the anniversary when she disappeared. So it's like you can count your Thanksgiving is DB Cooper, so you'll get some DB Cooper then, and UFOs. Are you going to
DB Cooper Con?
I'm on the fence at the moment. I was really gung ho about it. They moved it from Seattle to Vancouver, Washington, which is a little bit harder of a trip to do.
Oh, okay.
So I'm kind of weighing my options. I haven't 100%. I would like to go. I definitely would like to go, but
I love that there's a whole scene around that. Like,
it's great. It's what I want to kind of experience and be among the Cooper heads and see what that's like, kind of like my journey to the flat earth. So, but ironically, there's also a flat earth thing in September that I'm thinking about maybe going to. It's a little bit closer, might be a little more manageable, but I don't know. One or the other, or both. Who knows? I got a fair amount of vacation time left. So, but yeah,
we need to find more of these niche communities that we can infiltrate.
Well, someday when you and I are maybe less busy, we should write a book together on the Elvis is Alive community, because I feel like there's a book there. But what we would need to do is I want to talk to. I had Mickey Moran on. I haven't, obviously talked to Mickey in over 10 years now. So I hope he's still alive and kicking around. But
that was classic BOA.
It was a great show. We need to get our hands on the zines and shit. Like there was 4 or 5 zines that regularly covered the Elvis is Alive. Like we need to get the contemporaneous conspiracy community write-ups from the 70s and 80s.
I bet Go Rightly has some of that stuff, because out near him there was a guy that claimed to be Elvis's illegitimate son, or Elvis Presley Jr. That's what he called himself. Yeah. So, and he'd regularly appear on some Southern California radio station, or maybe not Southern, but somewhere in California. I think I heard Go Rightly talk about that at one point. So,
but you watch,
maybe he has this stuff.
Like what we talked about earlier. You watch now. We'll finish this show, and maybe not relatively soon. By the end of the year, we'll hear someone's got a book that I like, the very book I just suggested we write, and they'll be like, "Oh, what the fuck?" And some guy will be like, "I got my hands on fucking, 15 years of Elvis is Alive zines, and here's But I think that there's something there. That's a niche community that it would be interesting to follow and kind of see the rise and fall of this weird little world.
Yeah, I mean, there is a book called The Elvis People, which makes a case for Elvis as a religious figure.
Yeah.
And the cult following around him,
Yeah.
That's pretty good, but it's not quite that. He does go into a few people, I think, that still thought he was still alive. But yeah, it would be interesting to see the zines and things like that.
Because what the fuck could they possibly talk about for so
I guess
long?
New sightings and stuff like that. But
I guess, yeah.
And I have to say, Gail Brewer Giorgio's book, Is Elvis Alive? I mean, that's a pretty good book, actually. It's well written and it's pretty interesting. And there's various ways to read that one, where she basically talks about having written the Elvis fakes his death story as a fictional story about a fictional rock star that like ties into Elvis's real life story with details that she couldn't possibly have known. And that book never got published. And that's a big part of her book, but she seems to just gloss right over the fact that she apparently just clairvoyantly knew all these details about Elvis's life. Like she doesn't even consider that part. She just thinks it's a weird coincidence that she wrote this fictional story that happened to match Elvis so exactly.
Weird.
She's just like, well, I had a really good guess, but then they wouldn't publish my book, and then this happened and that happened, and she has the receipts. She has like when the drafts were sent and the letters that went back and forth. And I'm like, what if you just psychically intuited Elvis? Isn't that just as interesting? Like that's
right.
Seems interesting to me, And so I don't know. Yeah, it's an interesting book. I would ask, if you've ever been on the fence about actually reading this stuff, that one at least is an interesting and fun read.
I'll check that. Which one's that? Is Elvis alive?
Yeah, Is Elvis Alive? It has the cassette tape that came with it that you can hear like the recorded conversation. Like somebody recorded a telephone conversation with Elvis after he died.
After he died? See, that's the shit. Yeah.
After he, in quotes, died.
Yeah.
I'm doing a lot of air quotes in this episode. Doesn't translate well to audio.
Well, it is. Yeah, that's my favorite, fake celebrity death. Like, well, when Michael Jackson died, they tried to keep it going with him briefly, but I haven't really heard anything new on that. But you rarely ever hear any sort of celebrity get picked up as like, oh no, they faked their death. It's like I think Tupac. I think people think that he did too, but
there's a few. I mean, you also have, of course, Andy Kaufman, who is who is known for impersonating Elvis. He was like the original Elvis impersonator, almost.
Well, he was so like avant-garde that he's one of the few people that like when I did hear the fake death theory, where I was like, okay, that's probably one of the only ones where I was like, okay, I could kind of buy it. I could kind of buy that he would do this. Like if he was just sick of being famous and just didn't want to fucking do all that anymore and kind of was like, all right, I'm out and I'm going to come back. But at some point it's like, well, they got to come back. That's the punchline to the fake your death. If you're really going to do it.
Yeah.
So.
But I'm just realizing now too that like I don't think we ever even really talked about Elvis versus the Body Snatchers, which was something I looked into specifically because you told me to. This all comes full circle.
Yeah, this is the story about the guys who tried to steal Elvis's body that I asked you to check out. We didn't talk about that last time you were on, huh? It must have been after that I asked you about it.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's weird. I'm not sure we actually talked about it. But
well, tell people this story before we wrap it up for the night. So I know the story, but give us the thumbnail.
Yeah, I mean, this was a weird thing where somebody tried to steal Elvis's corpse from the grave, and it ended up being like this big rabbit hole with like a couple different characters involved. But it was kind of funny because I don't even remember how it came up originally, but online on one of the socials, you were like, "I'd love to see AP Strange do a deep dive into this."
Yeah,
and I was like, and then you privately messaged me. You're like, "No big deal if you don't." Like, I know you're busy with.
Yeah, I don't mean to put you on the spot. Yeah.
Which is kind of funny because I was working on like the Nessie and Magic stuff at the time, and then I got I got sidetracked. Yeah. That wasn't the only thing that sidetracked me, but yeah, it was a really interesting tale. But let's see, you got these two guys, Ronnie Lee Adkins, Bruce Nelson, and Raymond Bubba Green. So 3 guys that were all picked up for it. But it's this whole weird story where this Ronnie Adkins guy like claimed that this guy that he named Mr. Cincinnati like paid him to do it, and they got arrested like right away.
Was this right after Elvis died, or are they going to exhume the body?
Right. So he died, and then he was buried in a cemetery prior to being buried at Graceland.
Yeah.
So I'm actually just looking up the thing right now. Probably shouldn't have even brought this up because
you put yourself in this. Put yourself in this.
Forest Hills Cemetery. He was at he was at Forest Hills Cemetery, and it was only like 2 weeks later that they tried to steal his corpse, but they got caught like pretty much right away. But this guy had been like an informant for the police, and then they kind of relieved him of his duty doing that, and he kind of claimed that he was only involved because he was in it with the police as an informant, and then they let him go. But this Adkins guy was like a really sketchy character. It ends up turning out that he like joined the Ku Klux Klan later. He claimed to be part of like the Martin Luther King Jr. assassination, or his dad was.
Jesus.
He and his dad were both involved, I guess. And that's just like, it took some wild turns. I'm like, this guy is just wacky. And then it turns out that somebody found the other guy, Ray Bubba King, and interviewed him for the documentary, The Man Who Dared to Steal the King, which is really just like a 20-minute YouTube video.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, it's not that much to the story. It's kind of like these guys tried to steal Elvis's body and they fucked it up. So it's like,
it does kind of tie into these weird Elvis is Alive stories, because like, some people thought that this Mr. Cincinnati character was approaching this guy Green to steal the body because
he didn't believe that Elvis was dead.
Because it wasn't really Elvis's body. It was it was a fake body that got put in there. And if that ever got revealed, it would cause all these problems and all this other stuff. And So if people want to read more about that, it's a wild ride. I can't get all the details in right now, but Elvis versus the Body Snatchers on my blog. Go look that one up. Yeah,
apstrange.com is the blog. So we're going to be down in Gettysburg. AP is going to be working. I'm going to be playing. And he's going to be talking about Nessie and magic and Crowley. And that's the Paranormal Research Symposium the end of this month on August 23rd, Saturday, August 23rd, in historic Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. And what could also be helpful for people listening, and don't go fucking crazy, because we have to get to Gettysburg. Like, we can't make 8 stops along the way. We can maybe make one stop on the way and one stop on the way back. Like,
we have some ideas. Yeah, we can't go too nuts. We're on a timeline, but
we don't want Alex. We don't want Alex being there. Like, what happened to Matt Hopewell? Why we never showed up? And it's like, oh, we'll get there. We're stuck fucking at the world's tiniest ball of twine. So we have to check that out. But if anyone has any sort of suggestions for shit, now we're kicking around. This may be controversial to some people, but we're kicking around the Vampire Museum or whatever it's called, right? Is it like a vampire?
It's called the Vampa Museum. Yeah. I have thoughts about that. I mean, I think it's all bogus, but it might be fun to go look at anyway.
I have a feeling it's some hokum, but I like some hokum, and I do too. I like a good roadside attraction, and so this is definitely a roadside attraction, and it's on the way to Gettysburg. So that's kind of like, well, all right, we'll just stop off the highway and check this out.
Yeah, that's important. So being on the way. So
yeah,
if you're down
don't suggest something in fucking Baltimore or whatever.
Right.
We're not taking a detour to Baltimore, but you know.
So if you're down to clown and you want to hang out with Binnall and I, let us know.
Yeah, who knows? I don't have my clown gear anymore, so that would be, I could run around Gettysburg in clown attire, which would be really that would get that. Reaction.
I was talking to the listener. I was saying if the listener is down to clown.
Oh yes, absolutely. If the listener's down, you put the seed in my head though that I'm like, I think I said this to you. The creepy clown is like a drug, dude. It's like just the thought of it, just the thought of it makes me start to get all should I put the mask on? It's like the closest you. It's just it's the closest I've ever felt to someone who's like a heroin addict. It's like,
I don't think you could go back there. I don't want you falling off the clown wagon.
Yeah, it's like I gotta stay away from that shit. Creepy clown. I'm telling you, dude. Once you put that mask on, talk about getting into the depths of it. Yeah, it's like you become the clown. You really do. And then this is true. This is really fucking true, dude. Like. I'm wearing the clown mask, and then I'm like having an existential crisis in the clown mask. This is a true fucking thing where I'm like, am I the clown? Have I become a clown? And I'm like, what am I doing? What am I just standing there waiting to scare people dressed as the clown? And I'm like having an existential crisis where I'm like, what am I doing with my life? I've become the clown. This is sick. What's wrong with me? And then it's like, oh, wait, I think someone's coming. And so you snap out of it. But it was like, this is an emotional roller coaster. I don't like this, but I also love it. It's, I recommend people try it once in their lives.
Yeah. But, I don't know. I think for you personally, I think that clown suit is better left in Tennessee,
Yeah. Adam Sane tried to give it to me. And I'm like, I don't want anything to fucking do with that thing. Like burn that thing. That thing fucking... That scared me. That was not a pleasant experience in a lot of ways. But yeah, we're going to be down there. Speaking of clowns, though, I do want to also plug, and I haven't had a chance to listen to it. It just came out a couple days ago, but the Sandown Clown, right? You just did a show, and forgive me, I don't have the guest name in front of me, but that was one. I'm not like, I don't want to like take credit or whatever. We kicked it around. I'm like, hey, check this out. Look at this guy, and credit to you. I've been going through it and just dealing with a bunch of shit here at home. So I was like, I don't have time to track anyone down. You were on it, dude. You like so awesome. You were huge credit to you. So I'm like, we were kind of like, hey, did you hear about this guy? We were kind of exchanging messages. I'm like, yeah, this guy in fucking England's like doing shit with Sandown Clown. And I'm like, I'd love to talk to him, but I don't have time. And I'm just, kind of swamped and everything else. And then immediately, like a couple of days later, you're like, yeah, I just got a hold of him. I'm going to have him on my show. And I'm like, God bless you, man. Like, God bless you. So
it's exciting.
So just kind of plug that and give me a little bit of a taste of like, what is this update on Sandown Clown? Because it's quite the update.
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, it's been a favorite story of mine for a while. I feel like I was kind of averse to it when I first started making the rounds because it just seemed like it started being one of those cases that everybody covers at some point and steps in to talk about.
Simonton's pancakes.
Exactly. It's
Simonton pancaked. Yeah.
It's the Joe Pancake effect. Yeah. But I always found it frustrating because there was basically one account of this story from a little girl through her father to an investigator at Bufora, the British UFO research group there, and the details were always frustratingly limited. But it's a weird tale on the Isle of Wight with this 7-foot tall clownish figure, like
a robot, kind of robot-y too, right?
Yeah, people have described him as being kind of robotic because he used like this weird device to talk, and then later when he wasn't using it, he sounded kind of muffled and weird. He had like a face that was white with painted on features that didn't move. So that's where like the clown thing comes from. And he's wearing like raggedy clothes. Only had 3 fingers and 3 toes. So that's really weird too. A lot of weird stuff. He lived in a little metal hut that was bigger on the inside than it was on the outside. So it has so many weird elements to it. But basically, you're dealing with the testimony of a little girl and her friend who was the same age, basically. And I was always a little averse to it, but then the more I got into it, the more I got thinking about it, I kept coming back to it. So when you and I were talking about this, and I had heard the buzz a little bit and seen some of the articles with Paul A.T. Wilson, who is a folklorist and looking into it, doing presentations on the Isle of Wight. And again, I was skeptical. I'm like, well, what can you add to this story? Like, I'm like, is this like a creative thing? Is he doing like an artsy presentation of it or something? Like, that could be cool. No, it turns out this dude actually found the little girl who goes by the name of Faye in the story. That's not a real name. That was the pseudonym applied to her because her identity is private, you know. But he actually found her, and it turns out she had like several more encounters with Sam over the years, like 4 more times, you know. And it's so that is wild because this is all brand new stuff to everybody, you know. Like Paul has known about it for a number of years, and it's taken him a while to figure out how and in what way he was going to present it. And it turned out that was like live presentations on the Isle of Wight, kind of near where it happened. But yeah, he's a lovely man, and it turns out I used to read his old blog, which was called The Enchanted Isle. I knew him from Twitter. We would just cross paths on Twitter, and I found his blog and used to read like folklore about the Isle of Wight from him in the past. So it's like, you know, he's not a complete stranger to me, but we had a great conversation, and that episode is up. So people can go listen to it. I've gotten a lot of really, like you said, it's only been out a couple days as of the time of this recording. And I'm getting tons of messages from people that are like, this is amazing. And they're like, what do you think about it? I'm like, I don't even know what to think, man. I never knew what to think about this case. It's very strange, but all of these new stories just add a crazy amount of new dimensions to it and really raise a hell of a lot more questions than they answer. So, I'm going to have to try to get him on Binnall of America to dig into this, but that'll be a while. So folks, go check out AP Strange's show, which I think is the first podcast maybe that he's done since a lot of this stuff came out in the last. Yeah, I don't know that he's talked about this specific new information anywhere else yet. I assume he will, you know, but I'm happy to be first in line if that is the case. Well, like I said, kudos to you, man. You fucking, you know, we were talking about it, and then you just went out and did it, and I was like, fuck yeah, man, that's awesome. So I was like, proud of you, man. I don't want to sound condescending or whatever, but I am. I'm like, fuck yeah, fucking AP, man. That's awesome. Yeah, and I mean, it's one of those things you kind of got to jump on, I guess. I mean, I have a lot of episodes of my show. All of them I'm pretty happy with. You know, I don't release them if I'm not happy with them. So, but there's a few that it's like I sit back and I'm like, wow, that was really damn cool, man. That was a cool conversation. And this one feels like a gift. You know, it feels like a real blessing to have those stories brought out for the first time. Really, you know. So yeah. So for sure, go check that out wherever you can find podcasts. AP Strange Show, wherever you're listening to this from, just fucking punch it in on that same thing, right? That's how it works. They tell me you can even tune in via your pineal gland. Just find the right frequency, and the AP Strange Show will just be beamed in. Don't even talk out of behavior. Just ask ChatGPT where you can find the AP Strange Show. Yeah, exactly. Grok, is that a real show?
I like that people like lose their minds when they see that. So, why don't you think for your fucking self, you asshole? It's like, Christ, you left Twitter, dude. It's gotten worse. It's just a cesspool of like anger.
I can't do it anymore. Wasn't Grok calling itself Mecha Hitler the other day?
Yeah, the other day it was. Yeah, and I said like, yeah. Well, like I forget. I was on a show or had a show, and like they all bleed together now. Like I'm sure you know, and it's just like at some point I kind of realized like I'm 46. Like that means there's like 2 decades worth of people who are also online, and like it's like I just don't fight with people on because I've kind of come to the realization that it's like you're probably fighting with some like 24-year-old kid in fucking Manchester, England, who doesn't know shit, and it's like, you know, who hasn't had anything better to do than fight with you, and that's how they're entertained. And it's like, fuck that. Like, I got better shit to do, dude. I'm a grown ass man. I got fucking shit to do. I don't have time to argue with you about like wrestling or whatever. That's generally where I cross paths with these miscreants, where it's just like, that guy's he sucks. He doesn't know what he's doing in the ring. And I'm like, the fuck are you talking about? And I'm like, look, I've probably been watching wrestling longer than this person's been alive. Stop arguing with this kid in Great Britain. Oh, God. Anyway,
Grok,
we could talk.
Wait a minute. Grok, does Tim Binnall actually have better things to do than argue with some 24-year-old about wrestling?
Jesus. Sometimes not. Yeah. But, well, we could talk all night, and we're going to be talking a lot on the road. Yeah. Maybe we should do a road fucking thing or something on the road trip for people.
Yeah. We could do a recreation later, like a musical, like the on the road movies with Bob Hope back in the Road to Gettysburg.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll cook something up for listeners from that trip. We could just put like a thing, like the phone, put it on record, and just fucking do like a long fucking spiel of like shit. But we'll see. But we're going to be down in Gettysburg. As I said, Matt will be a presenter at the Paranormal Research Symposium, August 23rd. Put it in the Google machine, and it'll bring up the information. I think it's like $40. It's pretty, manageable, I think. And it's an all-day affair with all kinds of stuff.
If you want to volunteer and help out there, we're moving chairs around and stuff, you get to go for free. So I think.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. So Black Wolf Oats. Get your back thing, one of those things that people do the heavy lifting. Get yourself one of those weight belts, Black Wolf, and drive on up here and haul some fucking chairs, and then go out for beer.
Yeah, how far could it be from New Orleans?
You know what would know? The fucking AI. I don't have my Alexa in here. I could ask her right now. How far? Oh man. Anyway. I love you, brother. It's been great. It's been a lot of fun. apstrange.com is the website. AP Strange Show is the podcast. We're on the precipice of adventure. So this is exciting, and I'm looking forward to it. And I have to talk to you after we get off the air about that and other stuff. So
logistics stuff.
Logistics. So yeah. So thank you so much, brother, for coming on the show. And I'm really excited about this. I really am. I think we're going to have a lot of fun, and it's going to be an adventure. So, and I'm really looking forward to seeing your presentation. So it'll be a great weekend down in Gettysburg.
Oh yeah, man. Well, thanks for having me on again. Yeah, it's always fun talking to you.
Here's to an adventure.
Yeah.